Well, joining us now to discuss Israel's multi-front battles and what Israel's strategy may be in dealing with these conflicts is Colonel Miri Eisen of the International Institute, for Counterterrorism. Thank you for joining us. As always, a pleasure to have you on, Colonel Eisen. Now, we've been discussing the situation in Syria, so let's start with that. There's a lot going on between HTS, Turkey, essentially the expulsion of, Iran's influence, and of course, Israeli action in the Hermon. What can Israel expect to see from Syria in the coming months, and just how dangerous is this front to Israel?
As I just listened to what you just said, Emily, and I'm still reeling from it myself, let's take it into the Syrian arena. Syria over the last 13 years, from 2011, we're at the end of 2024, for 13 years, it literally fragmented into thousands of little pieces. It's as if right now in 2024, we all want to put Band-Aids on it, act like none of that ever happened, the 13 years of a horrific war, and within that war, it was sadly not the good guys against the good guys. It was most definitely the most horrific dictatorship, genocidal that's ever been seen since World War II, and that's that Syrian dictatorship under Bashar al-Assad with the crimes that you talked about before. But when we're talking about all of the different groups that were against him, and I'm all for the Syrian people, but the groups that were against him were a combination of what I'm going to call Syrians, they were usually kind of put aside, and other very extreme jihadi Islamist groups, HTS within them. Now, as you said, Abu Muhammad al-Julani, now Ahmed al-Shara, rebranding himself, trying to rebrand HTS, or the organization that he established as being one that was affiliated with Al-Qaeda. I'm going to give him, for the moment, the benefit of the doubt. But he is one organization, Emily. There are thousands. People don't understand me when I say that there are thousands of different groups. Syria fragmented into thousands of little pieces. Every town, every village is ruled by a different brutal bully. None of them were good guys. They fought against each other. They fought against Assad. And right now they're trying to establish something new. I don't see this as something that Israel can work with, but we're going to border Syria no matter what. And I really hope that it won't be about us.
Well, moving on to Yemen, it's been a busy weekend. Now, we know that missile defense, of course, is never 100%. Is there more that Israel can do to deter the Houthis, and can they be defeated for good? I mean, what does the way out of this look like when dealing with a terror group 2,000 kilometers away?
The Yemenites and the Houthis in Yemen are not only a challenge for Israel as they fire all sorts of different types of projectiles against Israel. Let's be clear. They've fired cruise missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, and different types of what we call drones, but they're large UAVs. And most of these they're trying to do in their own line that they're building inside Yemen, meaning they get the capabilities, the background, the money from the Islamic regime of Iran, but they're actually doing it on their own. But the Houthis in Yemen do not only fire against Israel, they are disturbing one of the main shipping lines in the world. And in this, Emily, I really want to hope, just like I hope about Syria, or for that matter, Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, all of the fronts that we're fighting against, but with the Yemenites, the Houthis in Yemen, that the international community will do more. Just over this last day, we've seen the United States attacking there. We need to see more action because it's closing a major shipping route. That would make a difference. This is not the same as Syria that we border. It's 1,300 kilometers away from us. It's disturbing the world.
Well, we've seen continued attacks in Gaza, even over the weekend. And of course, we see the international community on the other side actually increasing its condemnation of Israel in this situation. I'm wondering if you could shed some light for our viewers on the objectives of the continuation of these strikes in Gaza. And why is this IDF action that we see on the ground so necessary, despite the fact that, of course, as in any war, there are and will be civilian casualties?
None of us in the world want to see that the terror assault of the genocidal attack of October 7th will be one that is going to be perceived as a successful modus operandi. That means that Hamas, that military terror organization, and I'll add in military terror genocidal organization, needs to be defeated militarily. That doesn't mean the ideology. What can I say? I mean, I want to be cynical, but I hate being cynical on TV. I'm against their ideology. They call for my elimination. nation. But what I can do is attack their terror military capabilities so that no other terror organization, terror army in the world will view that type of attack on October 7th as something that they can do. We still have 100 hostages. The idea of doing the assault that they did, with the killing that they did, with the pillaging that they did, with the taking of the hostages, let's make sure that nobody in the world thinks that they can do so, not against Israel and not anywhere. And that's what we're trying to do, systematically, slowly. It is a harsh war. It is a terrible war. Hamas built itself so that Israel would come in and Hamas would defend themselves with the civilians. I have nothing good to say about it, except that we cannot allow it to be a success. That would be horrible for the world.
Absolutely, and of course for the Palestinians as well. We are unfortunately out of time, but thank you as always for shedding some light on these difficult days.
Thank you, Emily.